A lot of pressure comes when making a second game, when you've already made a masterpiece of a first one. And sometimes there are mixed opinions that lead to controversy related to whether it's actually better, worse, or can live up to the name of being a second game. So I made a list of games that were generally negatively received on launch and why they were really only considered bad either because they tried to go a new direction and couldn't keep their diehard fans, or just couldn't live up to being a second game. Dying Light 1 is considered to be a masterpiece, taking the two most popular trends in 2015, that being parkour games and zombies. Dying Light was way ahead of its time and holds up extremely well when I was playing it again. The main draw to this game was its realism. This game had stunning visuals, where the most beautiful thing in this decaying world was the sunset. This is an important fact I'll come back to, its art style. There were two major mechanics in this game, one being its parkour system and an upgrade system where you slowly got better and made Crane into the ultimate zombie survivor, and the second one being its nighttime. They say it a lot in its intro and trailers, but good luck and good night. So, this seems like a working formula, right? So, how do you mess this up? When the first game is already so critically acclaimed, how can you mess up making a sequel? Well, when the trailer was first showed, it set the internet on fire and it had a lot of popularity on it. It was looking like to be a very promising game, so, that's good, right? Nah, who am I kidding? It really isn't. This game has a very problematic existence, so I'll quickly summarize it with what I know when it came out. When the E3 demo was first showcased, it showed early gameplay, which is basically just using its engine to make an animation to get people excited for it. But right after, or very soon after, the head developer, Chris Avellone, was also the head director, was fired due to something involving sexual misconduct. I don't really know the details, but all I know is it resulted in a lot of his work being scrapped. Now, some people blame the overall change direction when this game actually came out on that, but who could say for certain? So on release, it was pretty rough and had a lot of bugs and stuff, like this one.
What the fuck?
Or this one.
I don't know you. I don't go out of my way to call attention.
This is where a lot of the major criticisms came with Dying Light 2. It was in the overall polish considering the time they spent working on it. This game was in development for years and was delayed multiple times, and yet it comes out feeling unfinished in just that not enough love went into the world around it. But it's far from a bad game, and I'd like to showcase that. final thoughts are that this game is extremely underrated and gets way too much hate, especially with all the updates that Techland has been making to make the game even better and all the DLC that is going to come. I think this game is very good and worth the price, especially since it's always on sale for around $30. So it's definitely worth it, and I suggest playing it. But I digress. Let's move on.
I am Andrew Ryan, and I'm here to ask you a question. Is a man not entitled to the sweat of his brow? No, says the man in Washington, it belongs to the poor. No, says the man in the Vatican, it belongs to God. No, says the man in Moscow, it belongs to everyone. I rejected those answers. Instead, I chose something different. I chose the impossible. I chose rapture. A city where the artist would not fear the censor, where the scientist would not be bound by petty morality, where the great would not be constrained by the small. And with the sweat of your brow, rapture can become your city as well.
Look at any top 100 video game list and you have most likely seen the name BioShock pop up. BioShock is a first-person themed horror game taking place in a city underwater, but with politics. As Andrew Ryan said, he made a paradise, a world where man doesn't answer to anyone and can build their own success. How can that be scary? Well, let's just see how great this utopia is.
Johnny, security's banging off all over. Get a move on!
Please, lady. I didn't mean no trespass. Just don't hurt me. Just let me go. You might cut.
So at first I was going to explain why Rapture failed as a society, but I'd rather just show you what I read in a list with some funny music in the background. So yeah, enjoy this. Now you may be curious. Drugs? How can drugs topple an entire society? Well, this is no normal drugs. Just watch this.
Steady now. Your genetic code is being rewritten. Just hold on and everything will be fine.
As the dude on the radio said, yes, this drug has the power to rewrite one's genetic code. This drug is from a type of sea slug which is refined into Adam. Now you may be wondering, where do you get Adam from in this society? Well, watch this.
You think that's a child down there? Don't be fooled. She's a little sister now. Somebody went and turned a sweet baby girl into a monster. Whatever you thought about right and wrong on the surface, well, that don't count for much down in Rapture. Those little sisters, they carry Adam, the genetic material that keeps the wheels of Rapture turning. Everybody wants it, everybody needs it.
Well, that sounds easy enough. I guess just hit one of these little girls, kill him, and take that little syringe full of Adam, right? Yeah, I don't know if that's a good idea.
Big Daddy. She gathers at him. He keeps her safe.
Well, here we are in Bioshock. This is one of those big daddies. Oh shit. See how scary they are? Well, now I gotta kill it. Oh shit! Ah! Oh! Ow! Oh shit! Well, I think that's all you need to know about the first game before going into the sequel. The main thing here that I will say is that Bioshock 2 is not a bad game at all. But unlike Dying Light 2, where it was a game that should have been better than it was, this game just didn't know what to do with it, as I'll talk about a little later. So you're not ready for this. Watch this. Bang! Yeah. You get to play as the big daddy taking care of the little sister now. What? That's a pretty cool concept. You get to be the scary ass thing that was chasing you and that was real threatening in the first game. That sounds cool, doesn't it? Alright, let's get to it then.
Get out of here, freak!
There we are. He's perfectly safe now. This is not your daughter. Do you understand? Her name is Eleanor, and she is mine. Now, kneel, please. Remove your helmet. Now, take the pistol. Place it against your head. Fire.
It is a pretty cool opening, and it really sets you up for getting to be a big daddy, you know, with your all-powerful drill and stuff, which is probably one of the coolest melee weapons you can give a guy. But the overall plot is that you are an old alpha model that happened before Rapture went to shit, and the thing about these old models is that they need to find the little sister they're assigned to. So now you spend this game looking for Eleanor, who keeps giving you hints and messages throughout the game to come find her and stuff. And the rest of the little sisters also seem to know that you need to find her. So that's the overall plot, and I'll get to exactly why people don't think this game is that good of a successor. One of the main points I hear a lot when I played the game and when I read a bunch of reviews on it too was the being a big daddy part. So being a big daddy, there are two important things you can do now. One is that you can adopt a little sister by killing a little sister who is already on another big daddy, right? And then after you get a little sister, in order to get Adam, unlike the first game where you just kill the big daddy, you have to take the little sisters to these Adam points, like the one here, and she has to like do this little farming thing, and you have to protect her. This isn't in itself a really bad idea, but you have to do this a lot throughout the game, and I should note, this game is not easy at all. Like, at all. I found myself dying quite a bit compared to the first one, and I played both of those on hard. And I think it just has to be said that even though you are the big daddy and you have the weapons, you don't really feel as strong as one. Even by the end of the game, I always still felt kind of weak, and that no one really is afraid of you, which is a problem when you make like a previous enemy you, or when you gain powers of an enemy. You have to balance it. I know that, right? But come on, a part of me wants to kind of be this overpowered force that dominates. But let me actually get into the specifics. The rivet gun, which is this gun here, is supposed to be the pistol, which means it's weak. But it's shooting like nails, right? So you would expect it to like be punishment. And that gun is the machine gun, which is like this huge Gatling gun, and yet it feels weak. It feels weaker than what the enemies are using, man. And it's a bad feel. This thing is pretty cool. I mean, look at the way it just like bang, right? Bop. Smack. You know? Slack. I like the drill a lot. The second reason why there was a lot of backlash was it's a lot of fetch quests, right? So if you're uninformed, a fetch quest is a type of mission where you go through an area, grab a thing, and then you bring it back. There's nothing wrong with fetch quests, and I think they could be done alright. But every area in this game is, hey, new area that you can kind of explore, but they're not as like explorable as the first games. And then it's, okay, get this thing, go back to the train, ride the train into the next area. Hey, something else is blocking your path, go get that. And it isn't fun to just keep doing. It's okay to throw a fetch quest every now and then, but when it's the only thing you're doing and you're supposed to be a big daddy, come on, man, it just doesn't feel right. This is kind of where you start to see that it's not that the game itself is bad, but it just isn't an improvement, right? The World of Rapture is still fantastic, but they kind of already went through all the great political aspects of it and all the great, messages in the first game, and now you're trying to bring it back with something new, but it's just not as good. Of course, this doesn't make the game bad at all, and I still think if you like the first one, you will enjoy this one. But you can see as a sequel that's supposed to live up to the first one, that it can make some people upset and wouldn't live up to the expectations of diehard fans. Especially since the next game they made was BioShock Infinite, and that was not very good. I like ending these games on a fun note though, so here's a funny clip. No happiness.
Listen closely, approach me, sucker closely. Wilson tried to treat me like greater than toast me, impossible. I cut a sucker in small chunks, make more rhymes than Michael Jordan makes slams. I'm slow, prerogative. On a different level, make some lyrics like the bass with the treble. Take a deep breath, getting funky as my lungs release a solid rhyme. Slacking, never stop, so I continue on. With the first word is white, word is born. I made your imperfection out of indulgent fantasy. Take a mile and a start. Like me. Listen closely, approach me. Sucker closely. Wilson tried to treat me like greater than toast me, impossible. I cut a sucker in small chunks, make more rhymes than Michael Jordan.
Blam, no. And she just let me hang myself out the... Oh, God. No. Come on, pal. The train's ready. Just let me live.
So you're telling me you turned me into the big daddy and you turned my daughter into the little sister? It's alright, I'll let you live.
So, originally I was going to have another long segment about another game, but getting footage is really hard, especially on PlayStation. So I'm actually just going to lightning round it with a bunch of quick things that aren't my clips. I'll credit down below. So, yeah, let's start. Wolfenstein was about a game where what if the Nazis won World War II? Extremely fun FPS, there's a lot of cool mechanics here. Makes you really feel like a badass, and, it's around the time when FPSs were kind of on the rise, especially with the Doom remake. This game is extremely good. I played through the first one. I just played through the second one this weekend, and it was extremely fun. And then the second game comes out, and a lot of people have issues with it. But how does that happen? It's a very simple concept where you just kind of go around, you shoot Nazis, and that's it. You liberate America. So in a second game like this, you would expect the problem to be the gameplay or the story, or maybe just it wasn't as good and came out weird. No. A lot of people had problems with when they tried to characterize Blazkowicz, and they did this in the form of this guy, this scumbag dad, who hates that you were hanging out with like a black girl and hates that you're kind of like the soft kid. So it kind of builds character for Blazkowicz that he had an abusive father and a mother who really tried to take care of him. What's the problem, you may ask? I don't know. A lot of people just consider this extremely like uncomfortable to watch and stuff. And it's like, why? It makes sense for the time, and it lets you hate your father, which makes sense because, you know, he's basically a Nazi now. So I don't know. It's just, this is a weird case compared to the other ones. But, you know, lightning round. Let's move on. This one should come at no surprise. This was The Last of Us 2. If you even know anything about it, you know, there was a lot of hate, even before the game released, just because that story got leaked and Joel got killed, and then you play as the villain and stuff. I mean, this game is really weird, though. I think it does what it's supposed to do, though, because it's not made to make you happy or anything, but it's nowhere near a terrible game. I mean, have you seen the gameplay and stuff? This stuff is, like, mad fun, and I had such a blast running through it. You know, Naughty Dog still makes fantastic video games. So it's kind of weird that just people didn't like the story to the point where they just completely hated the game. Like, it's just so weird to me, right? But, moving on. Dead Rising 2 is a weird case. Dead Rising 1 is pretty much a gem, if I'm being honest. I know a lot of people don't like it, but it's kind of like the greatest zombie game ever made. But Dead Rising 2 is really weird. I know a lot of people like it. I know a lot of people that dislike it because it doesn't feel as unique as the first one did. It felt a lot more streamlined and stuff. And a lot of people had a lot of issues with it. I think it's really good, though. So it's like, this is another case of, is it as good as the first one? But that doesn't make it any less of a great game. So, yeah. So what did we see? We saw that making a second game isn't always the easiest thing. You have to really make something great here because you have high expectations to live up to. You must keep your fans by making something just like the first one, but yet still unique enough to be something new. The gameplay must be improved, but not totally changed, and the story has to go in a new direction, but still have some of the love that was in the first game. This is an extremely tough list to beat, and it's no wonder why a lot of people would hate some of these great games like I listed. This doesn't mean every sequel, of course, so I'll put a couple on screen that I think are complete improvements over the first one. This just means that some games get very underappreciated when in reality they're still pretty good and very fun, especially for their respective franchises.
Well, that's all I have today, so I'll see you guys in the next one.